This is the 199th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the third week of November 2014. This episode is titled Fully Connected. CloudFocus Weekly brought to you by... something. No, brought to you by nothing. We have actually some CloudFocus Weekly news this week, so we'll be talking about that a little bit. But I am your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me, the co-host for 199 times in a row, never missing a beat, Justin, I can dance to the beat but not miss it, Edelstein.
I can't dance to any beats.
That's true. I've never seen you dance.
Terrible dancer.
Wow.
Danced at my wedding.
That was like... Okay.
I was standing on the dance floor while music was playing.
That's true. I don't know if that's officially dancing. So we have...
Does that count?
Sort of. We have some stuff to talk about today. Really just, I think we have some blogs to get through. We have some Salesforce news to get through. But we have a lot of backlog. But the first thing is really the CloudFocus Weekly news, which is that we're ending this podcast 200 times. And Justin's face just went, what? No, so
big smile on my face.
What we made as a decision was to move away from our current hosting provider and move to a new hosting provider for podcasts. And so that's why it's been a couple weeks since we've been. We had Dreamforce, and then we got back, and we tried to do one, and then we basically had some technical issues. I won't get into the deep of it, but one of the tools that I've been using for 7 years to publish podcasts had finally met its match. Yosemite took it out, and the application's not supported anymore. And so we made a decision to move basically providers from a sort of do-it-yourself provider to a we'll do most of it for you provider.
But this should be seamless for all those listening to us, right?
Yeah, but I've been fighting tickets and things. iTunes didn't pick up on it. So if you're missing out on stuff, and if you don't see, this isn't the 199th episode, just make sure to go check your feeds and check that you're subscribed correctly. It'll obviously show up on, in the normal places, but it might have a little quirks here and there. We did migrate over 199 episodes or 198 episodes. We also have some work to do on the website. So older episodes, like 4 or 5, like anything below 193, the direct link won't work because we have to move them, but they're all moved over. We have to redirect the link. So anyway, lots of stuff going on, but we hope in the end it'll allow us to do some neat stuff, which we've really wanted to do, which we're not even going to talk about, but some neat stuff. So this is basically in our planning for 200, right? So 200 and above, we want to do some new and cool stuff that we're going to announce and talk about.
Be so new, so cool.
Yeah, some stuff that
we don't even know what it is yet.
Podcasting cool stuff. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but just stick with us, and that's why it's been a little quiet, and we've gotten some tweets, people a little upset with us. So sorry about that. We also have while the podcast has stopped, the blogcast, which is my new way of saying blog, has not. So in the 2 weeks or the 3 weeks that we've not been podcasting, we've been blogging. So we have not 1, not 2, but 3 blogs, all Salesforce related and all really neat to talk about. I think we should go over probably 2 of them.
Okay. Which 2?
Because I think we might have mentioned the org splits, because I think that was from... Or did we not?
Org split kind of doesn't even describe it properly.
It doesn't. It's poorly
named.
I'm going to talk to the blog master about that.
It's poorly titled. It's poorly named.
Yeah, so it's really about pod splitting.
Yeah.
And not podcast, but the Salesforce clusters of their data centers are pods, and if you look in your Salesforce top, you see NA something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you see 1, you work at Salesforce
or Amiga. That's not true.
No, I thought Salesforce 1 was only Salesforce. That's their
Salesforce 1.
Oh, there's a 62. Sorry.
Wait, stop it.
Yeah,
there are plenty of clients on NA1.
NA1, the oldest of the orgs.
Actually, I don't even think it's the oldest of the orgs. Or the pods.
Yeah.
I think there's one NA0 called SSL.
Yeah, true.
That people are on. I've actually worked on a
this
project.
blog post, and we're going to talk about 3 today, but this blog post is really about when you get that email from Salesforce that says, due to our growth and trying to make you happy, we are changing up and we're moving you from one place to the other. What they're talking about is they're moving you off of one pod, one data center, and they're moving you to another data center. Not, so it could be another cluster of computers. Again, they have many of them. They're all over the United States. They're all over the world. In theory, they should be completely seamless. So this blog post kind of goes over what you should be doing to get ready for them or to understand it. There could be things that you've done in your org that are no-nos, like hard coding things that will break if you don't change it. My number one takeaway from this is a feature that I now almost always get people to do because the one drawback of the feature has been taken away, which is to turn on my domain. So my domain allows you to have blah.my.salesforce.com, insert blah where your company name could be or your organization name or whatever you want. It has to be unique, so you can't take Arkus because it's already there. If you try to look it up, you already get it. In fact, you can go to arkus.my.salesforce.com. And what's nice about it is it's branded. You can brand it. You can put up some of your own content. You can do a little color. But what it does is it means that you never have to worry about being on NA whatever because it's above that. So my suggestion is go out there, get your my Salesforce domain, use that, train your users on that. That's what they should bookmark and move on with your life because you should never even be a part of this ever again. Justin?
No, I agree.
All right.
That's it. My domain.
Use my domain.
Use my domain.
The next one is called Launch into Your Salesforce Day.
This is a good one. I
why
like
don't
this
you talk
one
about
quite
it?
a bit. So this one talks about the use of dashboards to visualize, obviously, report data, but not having the drill down of the dashboard be to the report, because reports are kind of like the end game. They're not great for working out of. While the data is linked and any record you can click on, there's no way to necessarily, in a very elegant way, go back and keep working on it. So this blog post describes a good methodology for building a dashboard that is full of links to lists.
Yeah.
So list views on tabs. So a report of opportunities that can be, put a chart or a dashboard on top of it. And then when you click on it, land you on the opportunities tab with that list view in context, which is a nice way to launch into your day because working within list views is far superior than working within a report.
Right. So it's basically connecting dashboards would typically go to reports to making them go to their list views, a list view instead.
A list view that kind of matches the criteria of the report that's displaying the dashboard.
And since it could be anything you want, it could be, right.
There's a couple tricks to get to the list view URL.
Thus hopefully the
blog post.
Yep.
And some nice screenshots describing exactly how to set this up with a simple use case. But from that simple use case, you can certainly extrapolate that out to whatever, however you want to set it up for a sales team, for a manager, for a service and support team. It's a really nice way to have someone have a very actionable dashboard, which is what people I think want from their dashboards, not just analytics, but let me now take some action and do some stuff. And lists are better for actionable things that you need to do. Reports are better for give me the numbers.
Yep.
Show me the data in a tabulated format.
Yeah, reports are hard to jump back to. That's sort of the
there's no good elegant way.
Right.
There's no
List
back
views,
to report.
Right.
Link.
List views are nice because you can jump into list view and then to a record from a list view, and then there's always that link at the top, which I hope everybody knows about. It says back to, and it'll then be the name of the object. Right. It's not the name of the list view. It's the name of the object. Pretty sure.
I think it just says back to list.
No.
You sure?
Positive. It says
Now I'm gonna look.
Projects, back to opportunities, back to accounts. Pretty good. If I get this right, then I win one in the army of...
It says back to list, name of object.
Okay.
So we're both right.
All right, fine. But it's not the custom it's not the object. It's not the list name.
No, just the name of the
Actually,
object.
why can't that be should be the list name?
It should say
That might be a
back
good
to list,
idea.
open cases.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
That should be a good, maybe I'll put that in as an idea in the idea exchange. So that is Launch into Your Salesforce Day. That's on blog.arkusinc.com. And finally, in the triage of lots of stuff, yours truly wrote a blog post. I would say probably the best of these three. No. About entitled Salesforce TwoFactor Authentication, a test drive. So we, you and I, have been, and Arkus, the only two people doing this, I guess the only two people willing to
Only
take
two
the pin.
maniacs.
When Salesforce released a feature, they released a feature, I think a whole year ago, allowing for you to do two-factor authentication. That's where you do your username and password and then another factor. Not to be confused with when it sends you the PIN code when it doesn't recognize your computer. That's only once. This is every time you log in and you give it your username, password, and then it says, I need something else. You'll see this on Google, you'll see this on Evernote, you'll see this on Dropbox, and basically that anything else has to be generally is a randomly generated number given to you in some fashion, whether it's texted to you, like in Twitter will text it to you every time. Others will email you every time, but most of them will use an application that will generate these numbers for you for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, and then you put in that number, and then you get going. So you and I have actually been using it. We've been using the Google Authenticator app, which is nice because it has all of them. Yep. You could also use Salesforce pound or hash.
I think it's pound.
Pound.
It's weird that if it's at the end, it's pound, but if it's at the beginning, it's hashtag.
Hashtag pound hashtag?
Is it Salesforce hashtag?
Maybe it's Salesforce hashtag.
It's a little weird.
It is weird. That's a strange one.
It's a strange name for... Why don't they just call it Salesforce Authenticator?
Yeah, they could. And you could
Pound.
You could also use like a third-party app like
Pound
Authy,
it out.
which our friend suggested. I think you made it a pick of your week. Authy?
Yeah.
Yeah, which you've never used or
No.
touched. But
I like to spread the word.
That one has some nice features anyway. So I wrote about sort of the pros, the cons, what your IT department will like about it, what your users won't like about it, all on the blog post. So you can go read on about that. And I linked to a couple ideas that I put out about it. So like putting Touch ID onto it and things even more secure.
Give me some Touch.
Touch ID is just awesome.
Give me some Touch ID.
Everything should be using Touch ID. So you can go to the blog and read that. So those 3 blog posts are there still on blog.arkusinc.com. They have not moved, unlike the podcast, which is still also at blog.arkusinc.com or cloudfocusweekly.com, whatever you want. You can get to
just search for it.
Right. But we actually have some non-blog or Arkus things to talk about. I guess in order, we have the Salesforce One New York City tour.
Yep.
Hit our town. We happen to be in New York and breathe in New York. Was at the Jacob Javits Center this year. Back to the Jacob Javits after, I think, 2-3 years.
Back to the Javits.
Like 3 years?
2 years.
2 years it's been away?
Yes.
The last 2 was in hotel.
Hilton.
One was Rockefeller Center.
Well, no. It was never Rockefeller Center.
Not Rockefeller Center.
It's always at the Hilton. 2 years, it was both times it was at the Hilton, but the keynote one of those years was at Radio City.
That's right. You're right.
I know I'm right. I was at them.
That one
you
wasn't
weren't.
at. That's right. I just go to Dreamforces. This one
you were barely at this one.
I was barely at this one. Funny how it's in our backyard, and yet I feel much less obligated to go to it than I do to something that's in.
Well, I was there
country
all day.
Yep.
I didn't go to the keynote.
Oh well.
But from what I understand, it was the Dreamforce keynote.
Yes, except they gave away Girl Scout cookies.
Except Girl Scout cookies were given away. But I did get my hands on a Thin Mint.
Okay, very good.
So I had a Thin Mint. Nice. Literally one Thin Mint.
Did Joe give it to you?
Yes, he did.
All right.
Well, he was like, we were sitting there, and I was like, ooh, Thin Mints. He's like, let's break open a sleeve.
There you go.
Like, I don't need a sleeve. I don't want it.
Once you open a sleeve, you never go back.
Yeah, you can't stop.
So for
they're so good.
So
Thin
for
Mints.
those who don't know, there's Salesforce has a tour, and they used to call it CloudForce.
Yes, it used to be called CloudForce.
Right. and now it's called Salesforce One Tour.
Salesforce One World Tour.
World Tour.
Traveling the world.
It has an expo, it has breakout sessions, and it has a keynote.
It's basically a mini Dreamforce. 1 day Dreamforce,
right.
Much smaller scale.
And free.
It does have breakout sessions. It does have a keynote. It's got all those things. I actually went to a breakout session.
Yeah?
I did. I went to the Pardot one, ROI on Pardot. It was really interesting to me. I walked the floor quite a bit. I didn't go to the keynote because I knew it was going to be...
The expo was tiny.
The expo was bigger than it was last year at the Hilton by a large percentage.
Right.
It was a good size, I thought, the expo. They had a lot of exhibitors. Nobody had... So I kind of liked it. Every exhibitor was the same. So
they all had the same size booths.
Yeah. I guess if you're the Diamond Platinum Accenture sponsor, I think they were the top one. They just had the first booth when you walked in the door. But it was the same little cubicle thing as every other person had. Salesforce had a nice little presence there. There was a partner theater. There was a developer zone. There was admin zone. All the stuff that you would come to expect from a Salesforce event was all there. I had a good time seeing people. Thought it was a very nice event. I enjoy going to the ones in my hometown. I like these smaller ones. They have a nice feel to them. They have a more intimate feel to them. They feel like Dreamforce used to feel, which I really quite enjoy.
Wow. Yeah, even Dreamforce at its smallest felt bigger than that. But yeah, I did not go. I had a lot of work to do in the morning, so I went for the afternoon, met up with some people. It was nice, but it feels a little close to Dreamforce for me. I feel like I'm still kind of catching my Dreamforce break. So, going again and hearing the same thing. But yeah, it's always nice and just, see people and random stuff. No big announcements that I know of.
No.
Sometimes I do announcements here. But the big thing that rolled out, which was pre-announced, this was all part of Winter 15. But as they said, I find that more and more Salesforce is putting it's in a release note, but it's not released. It feels like more and more. I was looking at 2 features today. I was looking at user monitoring. What was it? Usage monitoring?
Event logs?
Event logs. I was looking at that today. That's on a rollout from between November and January.
It's a big one.
Not very descriptive. And then I was looking at the duplication blocker, reading over that documentation, trying to find out it's in beta, but it's not, when is it coming? Oh, we don't know. And I was trying to figure out, because it's named data.com. The name of it is data.com. It's under data.com administration. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering, well, does that mean it's a pay product? Does that mean, is it, so I've been told it's free and it will be available to all orgs, and it'll be in the spring, Safe Harbor Spring 15 as a general release. You can get into beta however you get into betas nowadays. But one thing that did launch is the new Salesforce One mobile.
Yep, I noticed that the other day.
Yeah, so it has some nice enhancements, kind of a revamp.
Gone is our branding of our little action thing.
Yeah, the action button is now gone. That
doesn't exist.
Floating thing, because now you have an action bar.
Yeah.
I think my first thought is it's much faster. It feels speedier in my hand as I use it.
It is a little bit slicker. It did crash on me the first time I opened it. But after that, it stopped crashing.
So if it crashes on you, don't worry about it. That's okay.
It'll crash once.
It's just what it does.
It needs to crash once.
I will say one big feature, and I know this is me being picky, currencies now show up as currencies. They don't show up as just as a straight number.
Oh, they fixed that. That's nice.
I was like, that's a nice feature.
It did keep all my orgs that I'm logged into, so that was cool.
Oh, that's good.
It kept it. It did. I was expecting those to disappear.
And there's lots of new stuff. There's features on list views for filters. There's different ways of sorting and adding stuff. The Today view has been revamped. You can now see events. I'm right now supposed to be podcasting. Very good. As well as your tasks. Recent records now show up in Today view, which is cool. I have a question. This is a total side ramp.
Uh-oh.
Have you been noticing, and tell me why I noticed this, why is thanks in my recent items?
I don't know. I've noticed it. Thanks is always in my recent items.
I
Just
know
the
it's 'cause I'm
word
an
thanks.
Maybe it's just thanking me as
It's
an
the
admin.
badge.
Yeah.
It's not even like, I don't even know what the thanks badge is
But I'm
because
not-
there's so many
But I haven't
badges and I don't
touched
think
it.
there's
It shows
one.
up my recent, and this is not in one org. This is in every org I'm in.
No, me too.
So it must be an admin thing. Because
Well, I don't know what it is.
Everybody would be complaining.
I don't
has
know
to
what
be
it
admin
is.
only.
I have no idea what it is.
Well, thank you.
Open a ticket.
So if anybody,
Look at the no net issues.
ooh, maybe it is a known issue. I think it has something to permissioning. I just don't know why it's sitting there like I'm using it when I haven't touched it. No matter what org
It's
I go
constantly there. It's always the second thing.
to. It's always there. You're always there.
You're always there.
Why are you
Thanks.
there?
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
All right, so a short one podcast
Maybe it's just
today.
a little joke. It'd be kind of cool if there was a "You're welcome" one underneath
That'd
it.
be very
Thanks. You're welcome.
We have tons to talk about. We have a little bit more update on what the stuff we're going to do. We went and were trained on NGO Connect. I think we should probably spend a whole podcast talking about that. We also went to a GTD David Allen taught seminar, which would kind of be neat to talk about. So we have some tons of stuff as well as all the other news that's happening in the world. Black Friday, Snowmageddon. We got in Buffalo. We have so many things. So we'll come back probably not next week because next week is the holiday craziness. I don't know where you're going.
Berkshire's.
Berkshire's nice. All right, I'm going to Massachusetts as well. We'll be
We'll
in the
both
same
be
state.
in Massachusetts.
So sweet.
We can meet in the middle.
We'll be like 300 miles apart.
No, that's not
150
true.
150 miles. From
Not
Boston?
even.
No?
Yeah, no. It's like 2 hours.
Well, it's 120 miles.
It's assuming you're driving the speed limit.
Okay. But let's do some picks. I notice you don't have one, so...
Well, I just don't have one written down.
Oh, okay.
I have two.
Well, pick
But I don't
one.
want to blow them both.
No.
Because, I don't want to do that.
Don't do that.
You know what I'll do? I'll do this. I got one sent to me this morning, which is why I have two. I'm going to save the one that was sent to me this morning for another day. I'm going to pick something that I'm not sure when this actually rolled out, but it was brought to my attention at the Salesforce One Tour.
Okay.
There's a new Salesforce app
Oh.
called Salesforce Events.
Okay.
It's a mobile app.
Did not know this.
Yeah, I'm teaching you something.
Is it universal?
Free. I'm pretty sure it's universal. I just have it on my phone. And when I logged in, it knew I was in New York. It knew I was at the New York event. I didn't log into anything, but it knew like my location.
Oh, it's
And it just showed like the agenda of the event, where all the breakout sessions were. No collaboration, none of that stuff. It's like an unauthenticated thing. It's not like the Dreamforce app blown out for every event.
I thought it was events.
Oh,
like
no.
Events in our org.
No,
Like
who cares about
meetings.
that? You already have that in your
Yeah,
Salesforce One. This
I
is
thought it
like
was,
events, like I'm at the Salesforce One Tour in New York. So it has all the things about that particular event
Do not
in
send
the
me
app.
notification. World
So
Tour New York.
yeah, there you go. So it's got everything in there, like the map of the venue, where the breakouts are, the agenda, a bunch of other little things about the event. So I thought it was a nice way to like keep up with the event. Would have been cool if they could have tied it to like the community, so I could have been chattering in there. But either way, thought it was nice that they rolled out a little app for the specific event.
Definitely a Salesforce One app. Mobile app. They've done a lot that make it look
Yeah.
very similar. Sponsors.
So there you go.
Sessions.
Salesforce events, free. If Salesforce One Tour is rolling through your hood, you're going to want the app.
Nice. Not a bad little app. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to do my traditional. I don't make these picks a lot, but I do have to make them once in a while, which is that I am a big fan of mobile gaming. I do not play games pretty much on. As that game starts up, I do not play games pretty much on any device other than my iPad Mini. I have very nicely gotten you addicted to a mobile game, which I think I've already made my pick, which is Madden Mobile. If you're not playing that, don't, because it's free and it will suck all the money out of your wallet.
Money and time,
So
and you're just done.
Just as a note, Justin never pays for things like in-app purchases, and I think he spent more on this one app than he's probably spent in his life on in-app purchases.
That is a fact.
On any app put together.
OmniFocus is pretty expensive.
Yeah, but you've probably doubled or tripled that on this one app.
I've spent $40 on this thing.
That's it? You just purchased something the other day.
Yeah, that was my 40th dollar.
Okay. $40 on this app. Anyway, so Maven Mobile, I would say just don't download it. But something you should download came out yesterday. It is the third in the series of one of my favorite games. Maybe Justin will listen to me because he didn't listen to me about Madden.
I'm just trying to get the link to this mobile app.
Oh, okay. And so there's a series called from a group. Oh, I'm trying to think of the name of the group. I don't know their group, but it's called Kingdom Rush. Now they have an online game. They have Google. They have like Flash-based games. I'm talking about sort of the overall games. They had one called Kingdom Rush, which is it's a strategy game, the tower defense game. They did Kingdom Rush Frontiers, and now this is the third one. It just came out. It's been about a year. It's Kingdom Rush Origins. So if you're a fan of these games, if you like tower defense games, the Kingdom Rush series, all of them are awesome, first of all. You can play each one of them. They can play them independently. They don't really talk to each other in any sort of way. They're all basically the same, but it's like new towers, new fun things. It is fun to listen to. It is fun to play. You can play at small levels or medium levels. Anyway, Kingdom Rush Origins just came out. I think it's $2.99, $3.99, $4.99, something in there. It is a great, great game and lots of fun. And I just, if you're getting on a plane and need to waste 10 hours, Kingdom Rush Origins, you're there from start to finish. So that's my pick of the week. All right, we are out. We'll be back the week after next with another podcast. Then the travel for me starts happening, so it's gonna be tough to squeeze in some Decembers. We'll definitely get to 200 before the end of the year. But until then, you can follow Justin at Just Edelstein, me at Jason M. Atwood. You can follow the company at Arkus Inc., Facebook.com/Arkus Inc., Success Community Group. We have our own group in the Success Community Group called CloudFocus Weekly. Just search for that. Again, if you're ever thinking like, oh, I don't know where CloudFocus Weekly is, that's a great place to go. We're on LinkedIn, Google+. Remember, you can subscribe because it's in iTunes. I'm going to check it when I put up this one, make sure it gets up there. And it's on Stitcher. Stitcher was working as we make this transition, so hang with us. Until then, we're back in, I guess, a week and a half. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody, in the United States. Everybody outside the United States, it's a day that we eat a lot of turkey. It's Justin and Jason saying, enjoy those cloudy days.